Ain't it crazy what 90 days can do? Like, what 90 days can get you? What 90 days can just change in life and just make a stark difference? So, in this video, I'm gonna use a real world scenario of the life wheel. Call it Tony Robbins, call it all of your areas of life or business. And I took the measurement of what I had in January. And I also just did the current measurement, which is in blue. So what I really want to speak into is, hey, it's a new quarter, right? And it's important to measure those quarterly results because they're your quarterly earnings for things like your emotional well-being, your relationships, your family, your time freedom, like what really matters to you. In under 2 minutes, you can really write down the life categories that matter to you. So, for example, what I track is my own self-love and abundance. I really look at my own mental and emotional well-being. That's number one. That's non-negotiable. And that goes into physical health. You know, it breaks down to things like how's my sleep, diet, exercise. Then how are the relationships with my family? What about with my tribe? What about in my sex and dating and like life partnership? My time freedom really matters to me. What about my home? What about my income? What about my adventure, my fun? What about the impact I'm making on the world? And what about the never-ending development of Brad, like the continuous and never-ending improvement on that? So in this, I'm just going to go through see how easy it is to actually go measure those things, because what doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. And what's a lot more fun to go through that is that vision and brainstorming process. You know, our mind's powerful. We're creative creatures. I think people get most lit up when they start to paint a picture and talk about everything that they want in their life. And you can use those categories to start putting everything down. Like I have everything here that I'm reading like daily. I have another goals book that I just started where literally I'll brainstorm for 3 to 6 days and just keep gathering things together to be like, what do I want in this next 90 days? Because when you look at all the categories, you know you want to be having more fun. You know you want to be learning more. You know you want to have a lot more awesome moments with amazing people. You probably want to be making more net income. You probably want to have a lot better home and enjoyment of it. You probably want more time freedom. You want a lot more love, intimacy, time with your family, things with your tribe. You want to feel better. You want to look better. Like, how does that actually all come together? So there's two important things I want to speak into. One is notice where the measurement is. Notice how powerful the 90 days can be. But more importantly, there's a very critical measurement in which people don't measure, and it's the trend. So I'm going to take a look at the black, because the black is where I was in January. And black, I was just like starting to feel good in my mental emotion. I was coming out a lot of like shit. Like if I would have taken this measurement back in the prior quarter, which would be around September of 2024, most of this would be pretty damn low, from having some companies go under that I really loved, one that we sold off, going through a home that I loved in Boston. Like my home was down to zero. That ended up getting sold. That community that I was part of that I moved out for, that went way down. My relationship ended that I really loved. Like that went way down, and relationship and like sex and dating, like everything just went down and it compounded. And then you can measure it later. But if we take a look at the black, and this was measured in January, you know, solid self-love, solid physical health. But, you know, my tribe was kind of low. It was about a 3 or 4. But what matters is I'm also looking at the trend. Because even if I'm a 3 out of 10, if the trend is upward, that's better than being stagnant or downward. So, for example, in January, I was clicking in my new, call it dating life, at a 3. And my housemate's looking at me, he goes, dude, you're a 10. I'm like, I know, but I'm not where I want to be. Like, I'm just starting out again. I'm like, I'm trying to figure these things out. And I really want a life partnership. But the good news is it was way better than the zero that I was at, like in the prior 3 to 6 months, just where I was at mentally, physically, being in the middle of like some random suburbs where everyone's a family and I need to drive 30 minutes to even be close to people, and being in the Midwest, being around those people, they don't actually have the things that I'm normally attracted to. So it's like, where's the trend on it? But look how, like, just in these 90 days, like the tribe was getting low, boom, now it's solid. And it took the tribe about the last 2 to 4 weeks to really kick in. Like the tribe and the community is kicking in. The dating and partnership was at about a 3. Now it's a solid 9, 10. Most things are at a 9, 10 plus, which is rare. I believe it's doable. I've had a lot of weeks where I came in the measurement when I do the quick check-ins. I'm like, holy shit, we're at a 13 out of 10. Like things are just in such powerful momentum. But the time freedom's always been solid. And this is what's awesome. My time freedom is still incredible, even after my income skyrocketing and my entrepreneurship skyrocketing, because I'm so in line with my vision, which is making money in abundance, doing what I love with people that I love, that makes a huge impact on the business, the clients, the employees, humanity, and the planet. Like I just aligned with the right people to do it. Like the income soaring, the home was almost at nothing, at like a 2. Loved being home with the family. That was big. But my home, I was just like, this isn't my home. My home is somewhere out there. Like I just needed to hop on an airplane, go find out what was next. I just so happened to end up in Miami seeing a friend. And next thing you know, on January 15th, we moved into an oceanfront place in Miami. So boom, home is now home. Like we got momentum and I'm feeling at home in my heart. Like that's up. My adventure and fun list, it's like crazy how March was. It's like a 13 out of 10. How much freedom and fun that we're having that's there. The impact that I'm able to make around the people that I connect with, because I have so much self-love and abundance. And that's why I'm measuring that first. You know, that's like that oxygen mask theory. Get your cup overflowing so that you can give it out to others. And I believe that not only are we here to have an incredible feeling, like really start since studying Abraham Hicks and going on that cruise a lot, really focusing on how you're feeling all the time and measuring that. To the point, if you really want to nerd out, you can even start measuring that every day. And when I was in my shit, I did start measuring it every day in a piece of paper. I'm like, how's my emotional well-being? Okay, it's probably a 2. What am I going to do to get to a 4? Like, what else can I do to get there? And then how's my mental and physical energy? I believe that 80% of it comes from that. And so I got clear on the things that I want that will also end up tracking it. And if you really want to nerd out on a whole new level, here's Tony Robbins' wheel, right? You can grab these, you can make up your own one. But if you really want to nerd out, when I really needed to nerd out to really get things going, the things that would break down how you're actually feeling and what's happening, from sleep to my time, my score, my efficiency, my readiness. How was my water intake? Did I meditate? Cold shower? Did I do the breathing? Like all of it. When you really wanted, like I needed to come into Florida and just like kick some ass. I'm just like, okay, man, the next 30 days I'm going to be doing it. But you can get easy and fanatical about the actual tracking of it, because in Atomic Habits, they do a good job of speaking into it, where it's not the goals, it's the habits. It's what are your habits? How are you actually tracking everything? And then how you're measuring it. And the measurement is simple. This is how it's so easy for me to run companies. And when I come into them and how I measure everything, everything's on a weekly measurement sheet. It actually doesn't take long. It probably takes me under 5 minutes to go through the entire measurement sheet, even from where's the income at, the money in, the money out, the investments, how do I feel? You can just rank that on a score from 1 to 10 really fast. And how's the trend? Like, how do I feel? Where's my physical health at? My identity is I feel amazing when I look in the body, and I'm an energetic, powerful body. When I was in October, I rated it at a 3 to 4. And I'm just like, oh my God, man, I'm actually getting ashamed of my body. Like I'm getting like skinny fat, and it's just not me. And so I literally took a video of myself and made it public, like started doing public videos of my body and started studying Gary Brecka to be like, well, what if I just made a ongoing awareness of this, of what I'm doing to go to the doctors, to get measured and watch the impact on my body. And I started an actual TikTok channel where it was crazy. In under 2 weeks, that gained more followers and traction and engagement compared to like 3 years in business stuff, just because I was doing it for fun. But I was showing pictures of my body, doing things that I did that Gary Brecka recommended, and just watch my body transform. And I'm like, here's my biometrics from my body fat to the lean muscle, almost there. And people, I'm not as much the nerd as Tim Ferriss is to go do it. It actually didn't take that long to track once I had those things into place. And so that being said, not only are you measuring where you're at, but the momentum really matters, right? The momentum matters because if you're growing and you're in some positive momentum, that is something to really think about. So when we're going to measure certain things inside of the companies or how I'm feeling, what we're doing, how's your adventure and your fun, how's your home, how's your tribe, the momentum matters, especially when you're really getting this into a weekly measurement system and to watch it from that place, because we go up and down with our emotions, our feelings, our money, just like we watch the stock price, right? And that momentum matters because we can gain momentum. And that momentum is really your trend. That's the same thing. The momentum, the trend, what are the things that you're actually doing to get the momentum going? And what's crazy about this is, isn't it amazing when you get one good momentum going in a certain category, it just starts firing into the other ones? Like really taking the move to Miami to be like, okay, I'm going to move into a new home. At first we're like, holy shit, what are we doing here? This is what the body does. Like it almost felt depressed for the first 2 weeks. Like, what are we going to do to start making this home, feeling like home, internally in the home, learning this, getting the community going. Then all of a sudden we started locking into the tribe. I started finding the right people. That made it start feeling like home, locked into an awesome team that I got really excited for. So the income skyrocketed, that skyrocketed, the impact skyrocketed, and the things just start bouncing off of each other on how it happens. But the good fun part of this is, why don't you just sit with a bunch of pieces of paper? Why don't you sit with your giant marker board? Why don't you sit your things and really have that vision of what does the next 90 days look like? And if there's one great training that I've had that I always look at, it's like, what am I doing in the first hour of the morning, which is drinking water right away, like the water, the sunshine, the activity, the visualization into actually what I'm actually want to create, so that the mind starts to actually make that happen. It's almost like watching the movie as if it's already happening. But to consistently measure how I feel, and if I get into a place and learn to watch how I'm feeling, and I know how to calibrate it and to get it up the road into a healthy feeling, and to learn that balance with the serendipity of the universe. In fact, one thing I don't have in here, which is now it's like my relationship with source, as I really got into that a lot more. It is amazing how much faster things come to fruition when you get yourself into a place of feeling really good. And I think that's just the law of attraction, Abraham Hicks' main thing. Then from there, act from there, and even learn to let go a lot more. And it is amazing when you get that going. And I think one of the biggest momentums that I've had on what created this bridge to so much, and this actually reminds me of a lesson that I heard in my therapy lessons when I was young 30s. And he said, Brad, what is the bridge to the eightfold path of enlightenment? So let's act like this entire circle is your eightfold path of enlightenment. Maybe it's your tenfold path. And he's like, Brad, right association. And I was like, interesting. By me choosing to go move to a new place that I thought I would love, but more importantly, what I knew what a defining factor would be is to move in with someone I'm absolutely like in love with as a person, that I have traveled with them. They're so supportive. I look up to them in all different types of ways. They got great entrepreneurship. They're funny as fuck. They're supportive. They care. They're kind. Like, to be able to move in with someone, to lock into that, was hands down a number one key driver of someone who has a positive mindset, someone who isn't a victim, someone who knows how to create from the world, someone who knows how to like be supportive of each other's energies and what's there, and someone who's like appreciative and sees those things, and someone who and you can feed that to them as well, and you start bouncing with each other. Then you get into a tribe like that, just a few people, then things just start boom, boom, accelerating, right? When you meet the right people, some of the better dates I've had were from meeting people, great girls that maybe those dates didn't work out, or just from meeting good people, because good people hang out with good people, right? That comes a lot from simply the right association inside of your home and inside of the people that you're surrounded with. In fact, now we got such a good home. We know we're out in July 15th, right? We have another 3 months to be like, dude, what else can we fucking do? Like, what else can we create while we're here? How much more fun can we have? How much more moments can we have? How many more adventures can we go on? How many more trips can we go on? How many more hikes? How much more can we just create, experience, and be and actually impact in the world as well? And it also came to like, how do we take this home to another level? We know that we can live in a better place, a better location, but we're like, dude, what if ideally I almost want to make it like Seinfeld? We're laughing about it the other night. We're like, let's almost make this like Seinfeld and Friends. We're like, dude, what will up this place is you didn't live in my place, not in a bad way, but you were right across the fucking door. Like, I got sunrise side, you got sunset side condo. Like, and what if we did that with 4 to 8 other people, whether if we wanted to have a grand home, but we could also be in the same building or in the same floor. Like, when we want to create it like that, that's where we're thinking on the next level of home, and to be like, dude, we can really create this here. And there's a beautiful home I'm being supportive of in, I forget what it's called, right across the bridge. I'm like, we might be able to have a home in the city and on the beach where we can also support each other where we're going to be. That's part of the fun and the vision and the brainstorming, because even if you have like a 10 today in something, hopefully it becomes next quarter's 8, right? Hopefully we keep growing. You know, if your income is at a certain level, hopefully today's 10 is next year's like 8. Hopefully that keeps growing 10 to 20% and you get to keep experiencing all of that. But in the summation, I've had a lot of fun being able to pull out all these pieces of paper and these documents. And I'm enjoying the process with my housemate, because we help each other ask, and you get into a room and you learn to mastermind and you feed off each other's energy. And when we were on the Abraham Hicks cruise for 10 days, that's when we really noticed it. We had 800 people on a cruise in a room who all understand the importance of mindset and aligning with the right people and how powerful the mind can be, and as well as the universe. And when you're really getting in momentum with that, when you align with the right people, like, things just get crazy. And it's fun to lay around. Sometimes just chill out for like an hour or 2 at night and just brainstorm on what do we want to create, to ping each other, to help each other think about all of those things that you want to go. But if I'm going to wrap this up, to be systematic, which to be systematic simply means what do you need to do and how often to keep this shit together. You know, sit with yourself once a week for an hour. Get current with everything, but ask yourself, how you doing on a scale from 1 to 10 in all these areas? You can do it in your businesses. You can do it in your life. It's super easy. And then what's your trend? And that way you at least have the finger on the pulse and you have control of every area in your life, because you know that your life is your responsibility. And when you can sit in the cockpit of that and you see all those areas of your life, and you could dive in a little bit more into each one of those instrument panels, right? Like, your money then turns into like, well, here's my net income. Here's the money in, here's the money out. Look at those two things. Like, is my balance sheet growing? AKA my net worth, AKA, you know, my path to like having some there. Like how you doing with that? You know, maybe you're just getting into dating again and you're measuring that to be like, did I even have a date this week that I was excited about? Did I even take a chance on saying hi with someone that looked exciting to me? Like, things like that, like tribe, community. Did I reach out to people that I care about? Did I go find some groups? Like, what are some things I can actually do in the next 1 to 2 weeks just to move it forward a little bit? Because a lot of what I've heard and what I believe in from reading like Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, Tony Robbins, the Jordan Petersons of the world, is we do get a lot of joy from moving things forward. And there's something in the joy of the struggle when we get that little thing, though it passes right through us. Like, there's something in the joy of the struggle for us in moving things forward. And one thing I also learned from Abraham Hicks, which is big, which is learning to have joy in the gap of not having that thing that you want right now. Maybe you're dateless. Maybe you're not in that partnership that you want. Maybe you're not at that money scenario that you need to be. Maybe you're still working this other job, but it's not your dream job, and you're doing it to make sure you have income to bring it over here, right? And I believe that a big driving factor in a lot of my force in getting this black to the blue and so much more is getting really okay in the gap. Starting to learn I'm totally good right where I'm at. I'm good where I'm at. I'm okay in the gap. I can reflect on the wins. When I'm going to dumb it down to the most basic level, I got my mental health, I got my physical health, I got access to clean drinking water and food. And I'm in a first world country. Like dumb it down to the basics. Given that, and I got and people that like I love, like given that gives me a foundation that puts me in front of so many people who just didn't have the fortune of maybe the place or the thing that they got born into. That's there, right? That's there. And to understand that having that foundation is a gift that we get to have to pay it forward. I believe also a lot of the joy in these things that comes from it is also from giving back to others, to do it with our support, to do it with our money, to more importantly, do it with our time, to always have a list. And part of my tribe and family list, I just have an ongoing list of like, who could use support right now? Who's really in their shit? Who can I ping once every 1 to 2 weeks to say, how can I support you? What else are they up to? How can I support their vision? How can I make a connection for them? Because I don't know about you, but I think the darkest time that I've ever felt, even though I may not be alone, it's when you're going in your shit and those circles are down and those categories are down and you actually think that you're alone. When no one else is around to listen or to give feedback or to say, come into my home. That's a fucking dark time. And may we never have that. And may we continue to support each other and generate a society, because we're so global now, where we can bridge that and funnel those resources of simple things like the water and the food and the, hey, you're not alone. Like at least 2 to 5 people can step up, right? But being systematic and having the finger on the pulse of the areas of your life that matter so that you can be in the cockpit and drive those things. So cool. Because you can choose where your plane's going. You can feel where it's going. It's no one else's responsibility. Your money's your responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. Your joy is your responsibility. The impact on the world is your responsibility. Your home is your responsibility. Your relationships are your responsibility. Your time freedom is responsibility. Ain't no one fucking coming to save you. Might I suggest this election year you just stay home and vote for you and do it that way. But at least you can measure these things for yourself and be systematic so that you can always feel what's happening. And you could, that way it's in the forefront of the mind. It's auto-suggesting yourself, and the mind's going to do its creative, amazing machine where all of a sudden it's going to start being like, you're going to be like, a lot of times you'll just be walking on the beach, you'll be shaving, taking a shower, doing your thing. And all of a sudden the mind's like, well, shit, what if you did that? Boom, capture. Like that's where the creative mind will start to come up with the answers that it needs. It normally won't be right in the middle of the flow and the vision, but it will just keep popping in. It will pop in and it will tap into that collective consciousness that's out there, whether it's the serendipity of the universe in that conversation or just the download of that crazy idea to be like, yeah, that's a good one. Let's move that forward. Hope it supports. Your life matters to you. What doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. Your life matters. So measure it, manage it, and have a shit ton of fun.